In this video, I'm going to talk about supplementary angles. We say that two angles A and B are supplementary if the sum of their measures is 180 degrees, or a straight angle. For example, these two angles of 120 degrees and 60 degrees are supplementary because when you add them, you get 180 degrees. So they form a straight angle. Likewise, these two angles of 80 degrees and 100 degrees are also supplementary because when you add them, you get 180 degrees, which means they form a straight angle. We can use the idea of supplementary angles to solve for missing angles, such as this angle here, which is labeled with x. Since these two angles form a straight angle, they are supplementary, which means that they add to 180 degrees. So we can set up an equation that 25 degrees plus x degrees equals 180 degrees. So this is really just 25 plus x equals 180. And now to solve for x, we can just subtract 25 from both sides of the equation, and we get x is equal to 155. So this angle here is just 155 degrees. We can also use the idea of supplementary angles to solve for a variable x even if we don't know what either angle actually is. Since these two angles form a straight angle, they're supplementary, which means their measures add to 180 degrees. And we can use this information to write an equation to solve for x. So the first angle measure, 2x plus 25, plus the second angle measure, 8x minus 5, has to equal 180. Combining the 2x and the 8x, we get 10x, and then 25 minus 5 is 20. So the sum of 10x and 20 has to be 180. If we subtract 20 from both sides, we get that 10x equals 160, and then dividing by 10, we find x equals 16. And there we go. No actual angle measures, but using supplementary angles, we were able to solve for x. We can also extend the idea of supplementary angles to 3 or more angles. For example, here we've got 3 angles, which form a straight angle when they're put together. So the sum of all their measures has to be 180 degrees. So we can just add to set up an equation to solve for x. We've got x plus 2x plus 3x equals 180. And combining all the x's here, we've got 6x equals 180. Then dividing by 6, we have x equals 30. So multiple angles, no measurements, but we are still able to use supplementary angles to solve for the variable. Here's the final example using supplementary angles to solve for a variable x, and this one's a little bit trickier because we can't solve outright for this variable x because we don't know the measure of this angle. But we know it's equivalent to the measure of this angle, and we can figure out what this angle is using this straight angle here. So let's just call this angle y, use a different color to distinguish it. So this angle is y, so that angle is also y, and using this linear pair, we can use the fact that these angles sum to 180 degrees to figure out what y is. So right here we'll have the equation 70 degrees plus 50 degrees plus y degrees has to equal 180 degrees. So combining the 70 and the 50, we've got 120 plus y equals 180, and then y equals 180 minus 120, which is just 60. Okay, so now we can go ahead and plug in that 60 degrees here. And then we've got 2 angle measures, and we just need to find the third one. So we're all good to go ahead and solve for x in this straight angle. And this straight angle will have the equation, the sum of degree measures, 60 plus 40 plus x has to equal 180. So combining 60 and 40, we get 100 plus x equals 180, and then x equals 180 minus 100, which is 80. So there we have it. X is 80. In the future, we'll also learn about complementary angles. This is a similar concept, except the sum of complementary angles is 90 degrees rather than 180 degrees.